Hi, Taurus. Welcome to your July 2021 Astro Update. It's Rena here. So, as we begin July, Mercury is coming out of its shadow. During the second week of the month, we will finally be clear of those influences, which for me were not quite pretty. I don't know about you. And so, Venus is also coming from the end of June in the sign of Leo, and Leo for Taurus, being a fellow fixed sign, is the fourth house of home and family. So there's a strong urge to beautify your surroundings in one way or the other. You're ruled by Venus, so this gives you much more of a connection with this transit. This can also be, gaining money from a sale of real estate, or the fourth house can be the mother. We can say the family of origin in general, but I like to specify the mother. And this can also be harmony with your family of origin. So this is a month where you have transits in your third house of communication and fourth house of home and family, but these two houses are also connected in other ways. The third house is your local area. The fourth house can be your actual physical living space. And so those things are connected. If you're more active in the community and you are, dealing with real estate, you may be moving to another side of town, maybe even walking in other communities to get like a hands-on feel or a level on the ground, a ground level feel for what that community is like. Just to see, if you want to live there. Also, the third house are siblings as well as extended family members like aunts, uncles, and cousins. And so that, the Cancer transits in that house can be speaking on that. So speaking of that, on the 9th, we have a new moon at 18 degrees of Cancer in that third house, which is also the house of communication, teaching, and learning. So for Taurians who are teachers and are looking for a new district or whatever, a new job, that might be when you hear back in this, time frame. You could even say from that new moon to the Leo new moon as being that time frame. And, that makes sense that might be the month when it happens, because it's before the school year begins. So, this would be a good time, especially since Mercury has come out of its shadow, to launch a website or any other kind of like a blog, where you get to share your feelings, your ideas with others online. The area of communication is dominated by the internet these days, so that's that connection. On the 11th, Mercury goes into Cancer, so Mercury joins the Sun here, and this is very communicative because Mercury rules this house in astrology. So this can be like wanting to obtain information, gaining new, receiving and giving news, and maybe this has a family kind of a flavor to it. There's something going on. You need to keep in contact with these family members about whatever it is that's going on. Negotiations for something. So Mercury can be contracts. If you have put down money on a house and you are in a contract with it, that might show up there. On the 21st, Venus goes into Virgo. So, Venus goes into an area that is so much fun for you, Taurus. I have Taurus rising, so I'm very happy about this. Now, this is an important point to make. I'm sure some of you who are pretty familiar with astrology and these forecasts know that this is a general forecast. My rising sign is 26 Taurus, and so a lot of times the astrologers will say, watch the forecast for Gemini, if you're a late degree Taurus person, because it'll be more accurate. But you know what? I don't like to do that. I don't know about you. I want to always hear my sign, whether it's my rising sign, my sun sign. By the way, people will say, what is more accurate, your sun or your rising sign? Your rising sign is going to be more accurate about mundane events because it's based on your time of birth. And so it sets into motion. Your natal chart is setting into motion when you drop down into this physical reality. So the thing is, though, you have to have your time of birth to know what your exact degree of rising sign is. And that will affect when these transits occur for you. So we can't just kind of be so vague about it. It is a science. But I'm the kind of person that I'm not really that concerned about transits per se. I'm more concerned about people's attitudes towards their life. And so please don't take this to mean that, oh my gosh, I have to find out exactly when I was born so I can find out what's going to happen to me. No, you determine what's going to happen to you. Don't allow anything to dictate your life, including astrology. But anyway, this for you, regardless of what your degree is, you are going to have Venus in that fifth house. Now, it might be later than the 21st of July. Oh, well, doesn't matter. It's still going to get there. And it's going to be glorious because Venus is the ruler of Taurus. Okay, so the ruler, wherever the ruler goes, we go and we see what is happening and we feel that greater impact. But it's in this fun area. The fifth house is a house of pleasure. And I was remarking earlier that I don't see why Venus should not rule the fifth house. The ruler of the fifth house is the sun. Venus transiting through here, though, is very simpatico, very aligned with what the fifth house represents. This can be, this is a house of love, so enough said about that. This could be a very romantic time. But it's also the house of creativity. Now, Taurus people may, definitely have creative talents, but you can also be very appreciative of art, and that is important as well. It's not just about creating art. We have to have people who are fans of art to be able to, as an artist, have somebody to interact with us. Okay, so you can't just be doing things in a vacuum and nobody cares. You want that kind of interaction. So some of you may be going to museums, going to a concert, just really enjoying yourself. I found out, and I think it's going to be in July, I'm not sure, because I live very close to Chicago, and they're going to have, now this is a great bill, James Taylor and, I was going to say Elton John, not Elton John, but Jackson Brown. Talk about a great bill, and it's not that expensive. It's only like $55. So I was like, oh my gosh, I really want to go to this concert. I'm not really, I'm not that into James Taylor. I mean, I love, some of the songs that I know of his, but definitely Jackson Brown. But anyway, I don't know, it's like, these kinds of things are coming we're starting to have more opportunities like this. And then I clicked on for Genesis because I saw, under YouTube, if you're listening to music, they'll tell you if they're touring. And I was listening to Genesis, and they're touring too with Phil Collins. I mean, it's the original group. And I was like, I was hoping for $55 tickets. No, like $150, I think, at the minimum, I think. So, I guess Genesis is a little bit different. So anyway, you might be going to parties and all these kinds of things that are fun, and just enjoying yourself and maybe falling in love, if you don't have anybody right now. This is the area of falling in love and romance. But if you are coupled, it can be very romantic too. I'm just saying that this is not the area of committed partnership, but in a broader sense, it is about love. So, if you are artistic, you might see some kind of profit from the art. If you're selling it, maybe that's the online business that you want to start. Oh, the fifth house can be online businesses, so maybe turning a profit in that. On the 22nd, the sun goes into Leo, so now we have the sun in that domestic area. So Susie Homemaker vibes. I think I used that once. It was kind of funny, I don't know if I found an old picture from the those cartoons from the 50s, and those are cute. You embody that. Maybe you're going to be cooking more and doing things like that. And taking pride in your home, feeling that sense of connection to your home, identity with your home. On the 23rd, we have a full moon. This is the first of two full moons in Aquarius. Therefore, the second one is considered a blue moon. But in this month, this is at 1 degree of Aquarius. I don't know what the July full moon is. I think it might be the thunder moon. Of course, this is North American, Native American names, I believe. So I don't know if this, some of them correspond with Europe, though. But that's about it. If you're down under, that may not be the same deal. I don't know how that works. But it's because of it's also, it's because of the seasons, so it would be Northern Hemisphere. So, 1 degree of Aquarius. This is another fixed sign, but it's coming from the 10th house of career. Now, here is a perfect example of me with a late degree Taurus rising. This is falling in my 9th house, okay? My 10th house cusp is 4 degrees of Aquarius, okay? So, if you're going to have to look to see, but in general, I would say that a lot of people, this would probably be more like their 9th house than their 10th house, just because it's only at 1 degree. But if it is in your 10th house, this could be recognition. This could be, and you know what? I'm just going to read it like 10th house, because all of you are going to have this eventually, because the other one is at the other end of the spectrum. So, recognition, promotion, that it has a career vibe to it. If you are somebody who works for yourself, or you are in entertainment, this could be greater renown. This could be fame, although fame is, of course, relative. Oh, oh gosh, it's so funny because I was yelling out to my partner while I was recording this. That's how out of touch with reality I was while I was recording this, because I was going to tell him, he's in another room, and I was going to tell him that I was getting a nice breeze in here because it's been so muggy, and we're having a nice breezy overcast day. So I don't think it got too loud. I'm hoping and praying. So I'm sorry if I scared anybody. But yeah, so if it happens in the ninth house, and like I said, this may be more relevant. This is more of a spiritual download, and this is more of a this could be a profound effect on your life, though, if you allow it and if you are tuned in. This is an important factor in astrology readings in general, Taurus, that you have to be tuned into your life. You know how like little kids notice small details in life and the parents are oblivious? I don't have children, but I observe them and I see how they interact with life, and the parents are just completely immersed in something else, and the child is pointing at these things that they're seeing. And the thing is that when we get so wrapped up in the world, it's hard to pay attention to the finer things, the finer details. And what happens is that we overlook these things, and that can have an effect of not being able to take in some of the cosmic hints and even downloads. We might have messages coming to us, and we're almost like blocking them because we are so immersed in some drama. So maybe this is a great time to meditate and to really be still and know. And especially if you've been having difficulty deciding what to do, Jupiter is going back into Aquarius in a few days. And Jupiter, it's like the Seven of Cups. It gives you all these opportunities with career, and you might be confused and you might be like, I don't know what I should do. There's so many bright, shiny objects in front of me. And that's why tuning in is so important. You might be ending university. It is July. Maybe you're getting your diploma finally. Ending that era of your life. On the 27th, Mercury goes into Leo. So Mercury goes into that fourth house. Again, Mercury can be documents. It might have something to do with a home. You might be negotiating, speaking on it, speaking with your mother. If you are helping your mother to sell her home and you're speaking with your siblings about, how are we going to, who's going to handle this? What are we going to do? How are we splitting up this money? Those kinds of things can come into it. 28th, Jupiter back into Aquarius. So Jupiter back into your 10th house of career. And that could have good things, even retrograde. Even retrograding, this could have a positive impact on your life. On the, in terms of past opportunities making themselves available again. On the 29th, Mars goes into Virgo, into that house of fun and games. Literal games. Mars is very physical. So if you're a Taurus person who, has a softball team, is a bodybuilder and is, going to go on a competition. Maybe you're just like a sports buff. That might be some of the things that you're doing. But with Mars here, there's like there could be a definite thing of wanting to do it yourself. Mars, how do I approach this? The fifth house can be the house of recreational sex, meaning sex for the sake of pleasure. Although, bizarrely enough, this is also the house of conceiving children, which is not sex for pleasure, but sex for a purpose. So, whatever, I'm just telling you what I'm regurgitating. I didn't make this up. So that can just be something that is really what you're really involved with for whatever reason. You are involved in some kind of competition, sport, is taking up a sport. There can be but it's funny because I lost my train of thought, but I was going to talk about sex. Mars is the sex drive, the libido. So you do the math, Taurus, and you being you, yikes. That's all I can say about that. But yeah, pleasure. The pleasure principle. If you are falling in love with someone, that could be you partaking of that dimension in the situation. Mars in the 5th house can be really motivated with an artistic project, like you're really driven to do it and things like that. So there's lots that we can say about Mars in the 5th house. But it does form a trine with your sun or your rising sign, so it's a very positive angle from the first house. So maybe it does have some physical, like working out things attached to it. And you're using this idea of like training or competing as a way to kind of motivate yourself. But anyway, that's what I have for you. Oh yeah, like, kind of like training for a marathon. So you're trying to maybe you're trying to, part of it is getting in shape or getting more in shape, but you need this outer motivation to kind of spur you on, and you feel like the sense of this competitive spirit. So you do it for that purpose. So that's what I have for you, Taurus. I hope that you related to this. If you'd like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.